Hi, and thanks for joining me. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. It's a while since I've sat on the edge of the boat here and chatted, so I thought it was about time I caught up with you. Some weeks ago I published a Bowcam view, and I did ask various questions about that, which I'll come to in a moment. But I will say that last weekend I was away from the boat, and that was when Storm Arwen struck, and it was very, very cold, and parts of the marina did freeze over. So here's just a few shots of that for you to look at. So coming back to the Bowcam view, I published that on the 20th of October. It was video number 228. Yes, I am looking at notes. And it was entitled Cruising from Yelvertoft Marina, a Bowcam view. One of the reasons why I haven't responded sooner on the Bowcam video is that I started publishing my Kilby Bridge series of cruising videos, and then I went away to Cornwall, so I did a couple of Cornish videos which were current at the time. They were filmed and published fairly quickly after I was there, which was good, of course. And now, of course, I'm publishing my Leaking Canal series, and they are as current as I can make them. A few days filming, publishing, a few days filming, publishing, that sort of thing. So keep a lookout for those. They will continue for a while. The work started on the 15th of November and are due to finish on the 17th of December. Now, I don't often publish Bowcam views, but I have done it on the odd occasion, and they do seem to get mixed reactions. The previous one I published had some film that was speeded up at different rates, and parts were cut out and that sort of thing, and it didn't go down too well. So I thought I'd give it another go. I published a Bowcam view with no music, no speeding up, and I sought your reactions. In fact, I asked 3 specific sort of questions, and these were: did you want to have music on some of it or all of it, or no music at all? Would you like to see some of the film speeded up or not? And the third main question was, would you like the Bowcam views to be longer? When I do a Bowcam view, it tends to be 20 to 30 minutes. Well, I had some very interesting answers. Not only that, but a fourth question that I didn't ask was also answered, funny enough. And I'll come back to that in a moment, and I'll tell you my own thoughts about Bowcam views. So, what was the feeling on the first question? Music on all of it or some of it? And I can honestly say the results that I had were sort of 50-50. Some people like music and some don't. It's as simple as that. And it was pretty much, from the comments I received, a 50-50. Now, what I do need to say at this point is that the sound recording on that video was very quiet, and I played it as it was recorded. And what was quite fascinating to me was that some of you reported back that you couldn't hear anything at all. Others reported back that it was nice to hear the sound of the engine. It was faint, but you could hear it, and also birds chirping and this sort of thing. Personally, I thought it was very quiet. And later on, I'm going to show you where my Bowcam is mounted on the boat and explain the difficulties of mounting it and how the sound records as a result of that. So that's a bit later in this video, so keep watching. But it was interesting to hear that some of you thought it was fine as it was. With regards to whether Bowcam views were liked or not, from the responses I got, there were 3 times more affirmative responses. Yes, people did like the Bowcam view than those that didn't, so that was encouraging. With regards to the speeding up, not many people commented on that. Some people said they didn't mind if it was speeded up or not. They thought it was a good idea to get rid of the less interesting parts of the video that had been recorded. Some people just commented that they liked the vlog. They didn't really say too much more with regards to the 3 questions that I'd asked. On the point of the 3rd question, longer Bowcam videos, again there was very little response to that. So let me tell you what I think a Bowcam video should be or should contain. If I was to see something marked or badged as a Bowcam view taken from the front of a boat, which is where the bow is, I would expect it to be natural film with the natural sounds that have been recorded, and I wouldn't expect any music over the top of it. I would think it's just put a camera on the front of the boat, record, publish. Simple. So what is the 4th question that I didn't ask that many people answered? And that was to do with a commentary. In my mind, you do not have a commentary on a Bowcam view. It's a totally different type of video. I make 2 main types of cruising videos. One is where I film and I comment whilst I'm cruising. I might add in some comments later on. That's my most popular type of cruising video. If I'm doing a Bowcam, I don't generally add in comments afterwards because I don't think that is required with a Bowcam video. But having started noting what people's likes and preferences were, someone mentioned that they would like to hear a commentary. And after that remark was made, I got lots more comments saying, yes, we'd like to have a commentary. We'd like you to tell us about what we're seeing, that sort of thing. So that was a bit of a surprise for me, particularly as it wasn't in my mind that a Bowcam video would have a commentary. And that's the way I still feel. So I think really Bowcam videos are not going to be popular with my particular subscribers. I think that's the view I have to take. That won't necessarily stop me from making further Bowcam videos. It can be very straightforward to mount a camera on the front of the boat and record. It's a simple way, if you like, of making a quick video for you to watch. And if the weather's good and the sun is shining and there's activity on the canals, it can be very, very interesting. If you don't have those parameters, then it can be quite boring, and I accept that. One of the difficulties when recording is the fact that different cameras record sound differently. My main camera is a Sony AX53. That does a fantastic job with the sound recording. That's the one I speak to when I'm on the boat cruising. I talk to that particular camera. I have 2 GoPros which you'll see in a minute, and I will talk about those. They do not record sound in quite the same way. The position of the camera is also very important with regards to recording sound. If it's low, you're more likely to get the sound of the water. If it's higher, you're less likely to get the sound of the water, but more likely to get the sounds of birds chirruping, which is what many of you seem to want to hear. And I'm happy to give it to you if it's been recorded. On that particular Bowcam video, the sound was very low, and as I said before, some people heard the sound, they could hear the engine whirring away, and others didn't. So you need to look at your own settings on whatever media you're looking at the video on to see how the sound is set, because I can't do that for you. It's difficult enough for me to edit the film and get the sound pretty uniform throughout, and when I do add music, as I do sometimes, to get that all right, to get the right music, to make sure it's the right accompaniment for the film you're watching isn't easy. And I like to think I've got a reasonable balance on that. I don't think I do too bad a job. I have had one or two criticisms of the music I've used, but generally very, very few. So I do know when I use music, people are generally happy. So having said all that, I think I'll let you watch something that I recorded some while back. It was soon after I published that particular video, and it explains about the position of the cameras, which camera I'm using at the bow, how they record, problems with them, benefits and so forth. So I hope you enjoy watching. I'm going to explain to you how I mount the Bowcam, or Bowcam, one or other, how I mount the Bowcam on the front of the boat. I use something known as a mag mount. This has a tube on which you can attach an aerial or camera, as in my case, and it has a very heavy base with a tough magnet inside. I mount this on the top of the boat at this point. I'm actually mounting it on the cratch board beneath the cratch cover, but on top of the board there are two metal plates which I bought from a DIY store, and they're kept in place by the cover so that when I clip this on it's a firm mounting. Let me show you what I mean. So that's how I mount it. I then, using the cord attached, tie it onto the boat. I tie the cord attached to the camera back to here. At the moment I've got this pole with my router aerial attached to it. This isn't normally here. It's easier for me to demonstrate my tying off method. But I do that just in case the camera does get knocked off, it won't fall into the water. And preserving the camera is a must, as I'm sure you appreciate. This pole here is the standard mag mount, which has the heavy magnet at the bottom and the pole for attaching any form of aerial you like to it. This is what a lot of boaters use, one of these. They're not actually cheap to buy, but it gets the job done. Normally my router aerial would be mounted on here, but as I'm in the marina, I've got it at a higher level at the moment. I'll explain in a minute why I mount the camera on there. Let me tell you a little bit about the camera. This particular camera is a GoPro 7. I've not had it long, only 5 or 6 months I think. Prior to that I was using a GoPro Hero 4, which is this one, and I still use this one. There is a distinction between the two. The Hero 4 has no screen on it, so when you set it up you cannot see what you are recording. this one has a screen at the back of it. So when you mount it, I can see in there the angle. I can adjust the angle this way and I can move it side to side on the pole here. So this is what I use. This is what the last Bowcam view used for the recording. Now, there are other distinctions as well. This gives fantastic quality, as does the other one, but it is a later model, so I expect it to be better. This one, when that is mounted at the front of the boat, there is a red flashing light at the back that I can see from the stern position. When I mount the GoPro 7 at the front of the boat, there is also a red flashing light, but it is a little slit in the top left corner, and I cannot see it from the back of the boat. I have to use my monocular, and depending on the light reflection, I can't even tell if it's running or not. And I can assure you it is good to know that your camera is running and that you are recording, because later on you get quite upset if you find out that it hasn't recorded what you thought it had. So that's part of the reason for having the camera mounted high on the boat, so that I can see whether or not it's recording. If it isn't recording, I can maybe stop and do something about it. Now, the GoPro 7 has separate batteries, and I have 3 original GoPro 7 batteries, which I can swap them over. The Hero 4, the battery is built in, so I can record with this one for say 2 hours, then I need to recharge it. So I have to think carefully about how and when I'm going to use this one. That's why when I stop at lunchtime, if I've been using it, I give it a bit of a recharge, but very often it's not long enough to charge it fully. With this one I can swap the battery over, so that is far more convenient. But this recently has been giving a problem, and that it is only recording for about 70 minutes. I haven't got to the bottom of that yet. I think sometimes the battery is going flat, but I have done some research and it seems to be a common problem with GoPro 7s and 8, that they get to 70 minutes and stop recording. And I have read that some have the light flashing, and after 20 minutes or so they still appear to be recording, and they are recording, but the audio only and not the video. So let me explain why the camera isn't mounted lower down on the boat. I'm having to crouch down, which I don't find easy, but I think you can see that the front of the boat is very, very shallow indeed, and mounting the camera would be difficult. Just the stretching across to mount it would be awkward, and then the lifting it off, and in that position there's no way I'm going to see the light that's flashing from my stern position. You may say that I can come through from here, which I could of course, but normally if I'm cruising there's quite a lot of stuff stored in here. Nothing of great importance, but it's bulky and it prevents easy access. So mounting here is not easy. If the camera was there, because the widescreen effect of the camera, I think I'd get parts of the boat in that I didn't want. And as I've explained, with the Hero 4 I cannot see what I'm recording anyway, and if this particular camera was there I wouldn't be able to look at the screen anyway, so it is difficult to set up. I do have some thoughts about how better to film from the front of the boat, but I'm not going to go into those now. I'm going to do some experimentation because I would like the camera to be lower down. I've got various mounts and things. There are ways I can achieve it, but I am mindful when you're cruising, and particularly when you're meeting other boats, particularly near bridges or something like that, that the bow of the boat could be brushing up against reeds or other overgrowth, and anything on this side of the boat is going to be prone to being knocked. And as I'm a sole boater, it's not as though I can send someone forward to check it or hold on to it or anything like that. And that's why I have to be so careful with how I mount. I don't want to lose the cameras. I want to ensure that anything I film is correctly positioned and you're getting a good effect from the film that I've taken. Having seen my explanation about the position of the Bowcam camera, it's a bit of a mouthful, and explaining about how they record sound and so forth, I hope you now have a better understanding from my point of view as to what I'm doing and why I don't necessarily get the results that you would like to see. All our boats are different. There are lots of boat tubers out there now recording films for your benefit. My boat is very short and stubby, as I've explained. It's difficult to mount the camera in a good position to capture the film in the way I think many of you would like. I intend for the moment to continue having the Bowcam mounted high, but I will experiment with other positions because I know I can get the camera lower down, closer to the water. I think it will be more interesting for everyone, but it all takes time. Obviously, we're now in December. It's not the cruising season. And as you will have seen, I've been publishing my Leaking Canal series. All that remains for me to say is thank you so much for watching. It does mean a great deal to me. Keep your comments and remarks coming. Let me know as best you can what you would like to see. I do my best to oblige when I can. It's not always possible though. I will be telling you in another vlog my plans for the future, what I'm working on presently and that sort of thing, but that's for another time. So look after yourselves, your friends and families. Take the utmost care. Until next time, bye for now.